we created a board. The board is created by the city by ordinance and is actually designated that a member of each of the water companies will be a member of that board, and secondary water itself will sit on that board. Created a board. And okay, somebody was talking, but okay. We don't ever get that type of direct revelation in these meetings. That's the first.
Must mean it's just push it through. Let's go. We're good to go, right?
This is some group, but anyway, so the city made a commitment by contract that we would send, first of all, meet as a board. We call us the water boarders, but we're really not that bad. But we meet together as a board and we look at every single project that comes through Morgan for the purpose of letting you give input, because 99.9% of the time, you who have been out there in the fields, in the owning land, and who are out there in the secondary water company, you know every inch of your water companies and what they have and don't have. And so you get a developer that comes in, wants to develop a piece of property. This is the best time investment that the city has ever made, which is to get together with you to let you look at the properties. Sometimes it has nothing to do with your particular company, but a lot of times you'll have knowledge that you can really share with us that helps us. We then take that to the planning commission before they actually go to the planning commission, after they submit their application. We get your approval and we get an indication this meeting's recorded, because we want to make sure we get down all the things that are needed from the company, that particular companies that it affects, and from secondary water especially. Appreciate you being here. And we then we'll take that back to the developer, and before they actually go to the planning commission, get their approval, that will become a condition of their approval, whatever you have designated that we need to do. So some of them are really small like this. Some of them, we got some big ones coming down the road that will probably be of interest. But tonight we're here to discuss just the Pole Minor subdivision. And the way that the application process works is Teresa takes all the applications in and she puts them online. The engineer gives his input, and then the planner gives his input before it actually goes to the planning commission, and we get your input. That's what we're going to do tonight on this particular plan. And then we'll go back and indicate to the property owner what they need to bring to the table as far as shares go. And I think that's probably a good kind of precursor. For the secondary water, there's a point probably where we probably need to get together in a meeting at some point in the future. Morgan's looking at secondary water needs, or not at secondary water needs, but it's water needs. And we're looking at what the secondary water provides and also what we're going to need to provide in the future, especially if development occurs and annexation occurs. And so we'll probably be getting to you or together with you at another meeting and discussing that a little bit in relationship to some of the changes in state law too, which you've been affected by because you're putting in meters right now. Is that my understanding? Which is no small task and no small investment. So anyway, Teresa just left, but this Pole subdivision is, this developer is not,
Yeah.
I thought is not here tonight, but there you are. Okay.
Also a developer if you'd
Okay.
like, yeah.
So do you want to just explain, we've got a drawing and so do you want to explain what your application is doing, or what you want to?
What we're trying to do is we recently bought this plot of land from Leland Manning's trust when he passed away almost a year ago now. We bought it in August and we're trying to split it up a little bit because we are going to build a house on the back on lot number 2 as it's listed back here on the back. So that's what we're trying to get divided out. We got the There was some mix up with the certificates, the things like that, but we got that all squared away and we just want to, this is why we're having this, so we can put this, build this lot and to divide this into 2 lots and then put the water back with this house that we're trying to build on the back on lot number 2.
Lot 1 already has a building on it and a
Yes, lot 1 is this one here. It
It's
has a
already
house and
there.
a shop. It's already, that was already existing.
Yeah.
This T, this big T right here that I call, this is where we live now. Adjacent there, and this is, we're trying to add this lot 2 and lot 3 to this lot 1, correct? Pretty basic. It's not anything super difficult.
This would be a private subdivision,
Yes,
a small private subdivision on a private road, but the city will have an easement for utilities back to lots 2 and 3.
correct.
Does secondary water require a master meter for all 3 lots, or do you require
no.
separate meters for each of those?
So I do have a question. Oh, do I have to? Okay. I have a question on the secondary because it has a stub so we have the meter for the existing home and it has another stub out. I was told that it was for lot 3 and not lot 2, but lot 3 never existed and neither did lot 2. So I don't know how Darcy's telling me that the stub out, the second one is for lot 3 and not lot 2.
To my knowledge, that was just stubbed there just for future use. How it's been in the past is if you are doing, say, 2 additional lots, yes, there is one stubbed in for either lot 3 or lot 2.
Okay.
We can use it for either lot, but we.
Yes,
Okay.
but if you were needing to have water to both of them in the future, now would be the time where you would have to run a 3rd line for that other property.
Could we do it in the future? Like the reason we had to do a subdivision is because we were gonna do a flag lot and lot 3 didn't attach to the existing home, so we had to make it a lot 3. So it's gonna be like way in the future before we even do anything with that.
I know from secondary's point of view, if there's ever going to be potential for splitting of lots or splitting of properties, we saw it over with Andertons.
Yeah.
They did something very similar where they put in a couple lots behind a house just like this. And they were required to put in additional lines for each lot and then to be metered on their own as well.
And the city would require that too. They require, at the conclusion of your subdivision approval, we require the subdivision to stand on its own, whether it has homes on it now or 5 years, 10 years into the future. Because otherwise you're always fighting with people. The new owner comes in, they come in with their building permit and they want to build, and then they find out they got to run a water line down that road. You know, they think that they're improved lots so that it will already be there.
So as I look at this, you're really just gonna run, if you've got a meter, 2 additional lots, you have a stub, wouldn't you just run 1 line down and you can tap that at the end of that line? You don't have to run 2 lines from the road
That
down.
would be a question for either engineering or.
I think the meter'd be at the street, not back into.
The meter will be
It's
up.
private.
They're requiring all of our water meters, everything to be at the street, just because that way that they're not having to come back on the easement or anything like that. So they would be at the street.
The way it's currently set up is there's one line coming off the main line and it's a T. So
Mhm.
there's one feeding the existing line.
Okay,
So as long as, I don't know, like if there'd be enough water.
pressure.
Pressure
And,
for
okay,
one line to feed 3 houses.
gotcha.
Would be the question. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
with
well, you-
Andertons, they had them run like a 2-inch line or something, I think back.
No,
then.
that answered my question, but the frontage is really the private road. So you're
Mhm.
just saying from a water standpoint, you don't want anything to do with the private road. You want to be off the public road. Okay, makes sense.
And do you know if Leland already dedicated chairs for that?
Yeah,
So
we
that's
just
already
picked
been
up the
done.
certificate today.
That's our main.
And we've already transferred it to secondary
Okay.
So like each lot has a half a share. Yeah.
And that's our.
So, yeah, so in speaking to that, the Manning lot, these guys owned a share and a half of South Morgan ditch. And then we have deeded that to their names. Each lot would be required to have a half a share of South Morgan water, which they would then deed it or dedicate it to the South Morgan ditch for the secondary water for delivery purposes. We still own the water through South Morgan, but instead of feeding it through our ditch system, we're feeding it through the pipe now, which is which had not been before. It was flood irrigated before, but now it will be dedicated to the secondary water to be able to service those lots. Our water shares will only be divided down to a half a share is the minimal that we can divide our water shares. So they have got, in our viewpoint, they've got enough water to service that, which is a half a share per lot to service what they are asking for right here.
So only other requirement would be we would need to put in a future stub for lot 3.
And perhaps a connection fee on that one. All I can see,
On the new one?
yeah, on the third one.
Oh, well.
Even if we're not,
Unless you teed.
there would be a connection fee and a meter fee for
Lot
lot
three.
2.
lot 2.
Or 2.
And then 3, how it's been in the past is they've paid the connection fee when they actually connect onto the system.
Which has probably already been paid. Because it's already connected, or you mean,
Well, for lot 3, so we'd have 3
Well,
on
there's
there.
still, even though it's there, there's still a connection fee.
Yeah,
Most
that
of
I
them just
understand
haven't
for
been
lot
paid
2.
for. Like most people, like we've had people that have connected on a secondary the last couple of years and they've had a stub in their yard for the last 20 years.
but not.
And they still had to pay the connection fee. So they
Oh,
didn't pay
really?
it originally.
Oh, when they went, that's what happened when we bought the house we're living in now. I didn't have secondary water, and when you came to our sprinkler system, it was always there. We just had to pay it once we tied onto it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There would just have to be some way to have access to water to lot 3, like he was saying.
Yeah.
In the future, it'd be a nightmare if there wasn't. a
Yeah,
way.
there'll be-
Like,
there'll
while
be
everything's already
frontage
torn
access.
up,
Yeah, there'll be already frontage access. Okay.
So who monitors when the new building comes in, new permit for number 3 or number 2, I guess? Who, do you guys, okay, all right.
RC one, yeah.
Because I don't think the city does. Do we monitor for that?
No,
Or for,
basically what the city does is that during the development, that's when you give the water shares and put in the meters, but then we require a letter from the secondary water that the connection fee's been paid. Or whatever needs to be satisfied is done before a building permit can be issued. So that's the only time we get involved.
and the meter is set at that time, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the homeowners buy a specific meter. So a $500 meter and they have it installed and then we just come and inspect it to make sure it was installed properly.
That was easy. Is there anything?
I just think for those that don't know, if it's just for the future, that it's a little bit complicated, but listen to hear you explain how the water's being worked and talking to everybody's been very helpful because we didn't know that's how that worked. Just finding out all this stuff so this meeting has been very, very informative. Thank you very much like that. It's been necessary, but yeah, it's to the uninitiated, it seems a little complicated. Well, we have this, but we sell it to the secondary and how does that work? And we're paying a fee here and we're paying a fee here, but now if you explain it, it's understandable. So.
And I guess from the ditch company, there aren't ditches that are being affected or transfer of water down the line at all that needs to be dealt with.
Yes and no. They can't impede anybody's ability to receive their water down.
But and this lot, you don't have any ditches running
Not
through
that
there?
I know of.
London's property, there is a ditch there. But, and that's another thing is our property goes right up to the ditch, but the fence sits off about 2 feet off the ditch.
Yeah, the
So
fence,
does that
fence
have
line's
to-
shown here.
Does it have to, have an easement like on the ditch?
The ditch. It's all, this is all private matters between the neighbors, but
Yeah.
yeah,
They got
because we
the main
control the
ditch.
main ditch. We don't control the laterals.
As long as we're not fighting with
Oh.
the neighbors, we're totally fine. We'll-
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the laterals are all controlled by the neighborhood themselves or anything. So as long as you're not impeding the ability for them to get their water now or in the future, even if they're not using it now, you would still have to leave that structure that they could use it later on.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not going to get touched.
Is that, does that come
Correct.
across like lot 2? Is that
No,
Goes-
it's on the other side of the fence.
on the other side of the fence?
Outside of the fence of lot 2 and 3, yeah.
Okay.
So it's on the ditch is currently on the London side of this
Mhm.
development.
Yeah, the,
And Mannings have never really utilized as far as I know of.
I think they did at when we first moved in.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
But now, yeah, he's never,
They just
he's
haven't
never
watered
used
it
the
for a lot of
yeah.
years. Yeah. Correct, yeah. But it was still there and still available to them all that time and
Mhm.
they could have used it if
There's
they.
a gate to go in that.
But it won't be, we won't be impeding anybody's ditch rights. So as long as that's good and we keep good with the neighbors, we should be fine.
Correct.
So those are the South Morgan shares that come down there or water that comes down there?
Correct, yes. They own the Manning house. These guys, you own a half a share or a share on your own personal house now,
Correct,
right? A half a share now, but the Mannings owned a share and a half, 1.5 shares. Which would be their house and then all of the back lot. But when they divide it, they'll have to leave a half a share with the current, I keep saying Manning house.
You can, you know what you're talking about.
They would have to leave a half a share with the Manning lot and then they use the other 2 halves
For the
for
other
those
2
2 lots. They couldn't pull the water from Manning's house, that at least a half a share.
It's dedicated to the delivery system, so it stays with secondary water, which stays with the property even if they sell.
Yeah.
That's all.
So are the companies maintaining their own shares, like as treasury stock or?
Correct, yes, and I can't answer for the most of it, I'm sure they all are similar to ours, but we have a board and we have all of our shareholders are our owners, if you will, and they elect the board positions, they pay fees, we manage those monies, we pay for those water shares to the Weber Basin and Echo Reservoir stocks. And then those are funneled into our ditch and we use those funds to maintain our ditch, to maintain our head gates, to maintain and to pay those water fees that we have to pay to use those waters.
So where folks like this give those water shares to, or at least contribute to secondary, does secondary actually pay all of those fees?
Pay the assessments.
You pay the assessments?
Yes.
Yes, we now assess that, but it's funneled through secondary now. But it does not eliminate, because you're taking your water in the secondary system does not eliminate your fees still payable to South Morgan Ditch. It's just secondary is just a means of transportation of that water. That's all it is. They're paying, when you pay your secondary fee, you're paying to secondary a means of transportation of that water, but you're also paying South Morgan's assessed fee per share.
And that comes through secondary, from you to secondary and then.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a little confusing. That's what I was getting at before, but now listening to you guys talk about it, it's very helpful. to understand.
Secondary water doesn't own any water.
It's
You're
all
just-
in
you're
the.
just- It's
All they
just
do
a
is deliver.
delivery.
They
system.
don't own any water.
Yeah.
Correct. It's just a delivery company.
Nice
That's
system.
all it is. And they use we deliver some of our water through irrigation means and we deliver some of our water to the secondary company so that they can distribute it.
It's good.
Okay.
That's great.
So secondary water, we're good?
Yeah.
Paul's, we're good? Okay. Anything else that needs to be brought up or discussed? You can
This
stay
is
for
the easy
another
one.
meeting. there.
Yeah, I love it.
This is pretty
Easy.
straight.
More better,
clear.
yeah.
Luckily, Manny's had a share and a half and they
Yeah.
you could do
Yeah,
that.
it was really nervous when
We-
we first found out we had to have share water. We're like, we
There-
didn't realize it came with the
There's a
hot plate
chance we could pull
anyways.
off-
There was some confusion and we got it figured out.
Because there have been instances in our area with South Fork Ditch where they
Here.
flag block a place